Welcome guys. In our previous video we've talked about Jupyter Lab, and if you're using Jupyter Lab or Jupyter Notebook, there's no confusion. There's a desktop app, which is what I'm using, and then there's a browser version, which is also very available if that's what you want to use. Today we are going to get ourselves familiar with the basic data types that we have in Python and the basic kinds of operations that we also have in Python. First off, we're going to start with what are the common data types we have. So like we mentioned the last time, I'm just going to create a simple markdown, and then we're going to have strings, we have numbers, we have booleans, and we have none. So these are the common types of data we have. We have other ones, but we are coming to that shortly. Now we also have assignment operations and logical operations, and we have simple arithmetic operations as well. So we have assignment operations, we have logical operations, and we also have simple arithmetic operations. Right. First of all, before we go there, what are strings? Strings simply are text. Python will always see strings as text. So if I have Andre, right, this is a text. It's Python. If I run this, it returns Andre. It's a string. Now, before I go on further, I would need to explain the difference between a variable and just any other kind of data. So here what we have is a name or a text called Andre. Andre means nothing to Python. As a matter of fact, Python is not going to remember what Andre is in the next cell. So for a particular value to be recognized by Python, we need to assign that value to a variable. So a variable is like a container that holds values. So if I say name equal to, and then I say Andre, I am assigning the value Andre to a variable name. I hope that makes sense. So we have variable, container, value, content. Now values can now be any kind of data type: string, numbers, booleans, none, and the others that we are going to see subsequently. By assigning Andre to name, anywhere name is now called, it's now recognized as Andre. Now name is now an object in Python that contains a value called Andre. I hope that makes sense to us. So anything that is in quotes, anything quoted, Python is going to see it as a string. And I'm going to come to that shortly. Because if I say 18, now 18 is obviously a number. If I say age is equal to 18, it means I'm assigning a value called a value 18 to a variable age, right? So remember, the equal to sign is for assignment operation, right? It's used for assigning. Now we've assigned a value 18 to age. How do I check what kind of value or what type of value is in a particular variable, or what kind of data type does a variable hold? I'm going to use the type class. Now you can see the word here, class, and like I said, we're going to talk about that some other time. So if I ask for type and I say age, it returns to me int, because Python recognizes numbers as two types. either they are integers or they are decimals, floats. So if I have weight equal to, let's say 66.5, and I run that and I check the type of weight. Now notice that weight is being called an instance here. Like I said, I'm going to come back to this. It's telling us that it's a float. Okay, so now I have two kinds of numbers, integers and floats. Does that make sense? So the type command, right, tells us what type, or the type function tells us what type of data a variable holds or a value is. Great. Now, this is what we mean by assignment. This is what we mean by checking a particular data type. Now, also know that if I quote a number, Python is going to see it as a string. Meanwhile, we didn't check for that. So let's see the type of name. So it's telling us that it's a string because it's quoted. If I now do let's see rating, and let's say, and I quote rating and give it 6.7, it's quoted. If I go ahead and check the type of rating, you see it's telling me that rating is a string, even though it contains, or it appears to contain, a number 6.7. So the moment a value is quoted, Python is going to see it as a string. Now, we also have booleans, which are logical values, true or false, and they are gotten when a logical operation is carried out. Remember, age is equal to 18. If I say age is greater than 34, it returns to me false, because what I performed here is a logical operation. So remember, we said we have assignment, we have logical operations, and then we have our simple arithmetic operations. In this case now, we are trying to perform a logical operation to find out if age is greater than 34, and it told us false. So this is another beautiful thing about the IDE. I can go to a previous code I have written and edit. Now if I attempt to find the type of this, it tells me bool, because that's what true and false is. Now take note, it's true and it's false, like this. True, this will give you our first error, because true is not true, right? So this is how it is, true and false. So those are our two boolean. True appears when all the conditions given are true, while false appears when even one of those conditions are false. Now, there are other logical operations that we have aside from greater than. We have less than, we have greater than or equal to, we have less than or equal to, we have is equal to, and we have is not equal to. And we're going to look at all of them briefly. So if I say print if age is greater than or equal to 15, first command. If I say print if age is less than or equal to 15, if age is less than or equal to 15. If I also say print if age is equal to, so that's how you check if two things are equal to. Okay, A singular equal to operation sign operator signifies assignment. You're assigning a value to a variable. But when we have two equal to operators, then what you're doing is the logical operation of is it equal to. Okay, and you can also check if age is not equal to, which is one way to put it, or could use this, not equal to 15. So is age greater than or equal to 15? Yes. 18 is greater than or equal to 15. Is it less than or equal to 15? False. Is it equal to 15? False. Is it not equal to 15? True. So that's how our logical operations work. Now we have our simple arithmetic operations, which are operators like the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and so on and so forth. Already you know how that works. It's not as different as what you already know. If I have a value 5 plus 3, it returns 8. 5 minus 3, it returns 2. If I have 5 double asterisk 2, guess what? 25. And I'm sure you know what that means. It means 5 to the power of 2. If I have 5 times 2, if I have 5 times 2, it's telling us 10. If I have 5 divided by 2, it's telling us 2.5. If I have 5, so not every particular function or operator that you think you know is going to be available. In other programming language, you could find some of these operators available, but when you come to Python, you're not going to find them there. This is the modulus operation, and the modulus operation is used to reveal the remainder when the first value is divided by the second value. In this case, 5 is divided by 2. We're going to have 2 as a whole number and then 1 as a remainder, and that gives you the result as 1. Now, of course, you can still use these operations when these values have been assigned to variables. So I already have age equal to 18. If I do age plus 3, you see 18 plus 3 gives us 21. It works absolutely fine. You could still use two variables. If I do age plus weight, which we had created before, it tells me the sum of the both of them. So you could see how easy it is. Very easy to work with. Now, what if I do age plus name? I get my first error, my second error, our third error. Now, look at something. There are different kinds of errors you're going to be encountering when you're working with Python. But if I should give a heads up, I would like to tell you that there's no need to fear. It's not as scary as they are going to appear, at least not at this point. You have the type error, you have your syntax error, and you have a name error. Now, you would also encounter a value error as you go, but just be calm. There's no big hoax about them. Name error usually comes up when Python sees a variable or assumes it sees a variable that it cannot recognize. So in this case, because true is not quoted and true is not a keyword like the booleans, it's assuming it's a variable and there's no assigned or defined variable as true. Syntax error is when the operation you're trying to give or you're trying to perform is not recognized by Python. In this case, the inline character that I used there. And then type error, it's when you're trying to perform something like this. You're trying to use in an operation it can recognize, an operator it can recognize in a way it cannot recognize it. So I'm trying to add an age, which is number, a string, an integer and a string, which of course is not how you can use that type of operator. Okay, so these are the basic things you should know about your first operations in Python. You now know about your integer class, your integer. You now know about your float. You now know about your string. You now know about your type function. Okay, you know about variables, and you know about different kinds of operations. In our next video, we'll take it up a bit further and explain to us other more structured kinds of data type. Some call them data structures, but I'll see you in the next video.